Hello everyone, welcome back to Shonky Lab. It is me, Mr. Elton McManus, and I'm here to take you through a journey of moving house. But I do need 2 guest producers. Yes, I've brought that back. These are guest producers. First off, in the left-hand corner, we have Mr. Pete Hammond.
Hello.
And the other corner, slightly smaller corner, little blue corner, I suppose, is Mr. Lee Harvey.
Hello.
Hello. You guys all right?
Oh, yeah, not so bad, man. How's you?
Yeah, not too bad. Well, you kind of know how I've been feeling because Skype was being a bit of a twonk earlier on.
Well, we've had 20 minutes of bollocks, haven't we?
That was the best bit. I hope you pressed record.
Pretty much, yes. It was 20 minutes of, indeed, bollocks. Shame. Yeah, but we're here to talk about moving house. Now, I know I'm going to put a question in the chat room. This is either going to work wonderfully well or it's not going to work at all. So I'm a little bit worried about this. But I'm going to ask a question in the chat room. Chat room are going to answer it, but we're not going to give away the actual question onto the podcast. Met her? I don't know. I never met her, anyway. Right, it's in there, okay? So I'm looking forward to people answering that and then us reading it out and then seeing how we go with this. You never know. If you want to, probably not listening live anyway. If you are listening to the podcast and you want to listen live in future, you go over to shonkylab.com and the links are all there to go to the Mixler page. There you can join us in the chat room, talk with us, chat with us, even call in on Skype as well if you wish to do that. So gentlemen, moving house.
Yeah, fun times.
Yeah.
It's apparently it's the most stressful thing you can do, isn't it?
It certainly feels like it at the moment.
It does feel like it. Yeah, how many times have you guys done it?
I wrote a list
so childish
of the places that I've lived, and I counted 23 houses.
Fucking hell.
That's probably not all of them, to be honest. I've certainly moved at least once a year for as long as I can remember.
Are you the human equivalent of the littlest hobo?
Yes.
Wow.
Pretty much. Shall I read the list of places that I've lived?
Yeah, go for it.
Right. Okay. So I started in London.
Which ones are these a student, or were you never a student?
I was a student. I'll tell you when the student place comes. So I lived in London, in Glossop in Derbyshire, Lancaster, Manchester, Maidstone, then Sheffield, where I was a student, then London again, where I was a student for a little bit of the time, and now I'm in Southampton.
Are you on some kind of register? And to keep moving.
And that's not including the times when I was working as an archaeologist and I had a away job, so I was often going away on the Monday, coming back on the Friday into various parts of the country. Yeah, I've moved once or twice. And it's a bloody nightmare.
Yeah, I imagine it would be.
Yeah. Like I said, I am currently sat in a room which has boxes all over the place because I haven't bothered to unpack from the last time that I moved. Because who knows when it will happen again. It could be off again next week.
Well, do we ever finish unpacking, though?
I think I've probably got a box of stuff somewhere that I've still not unpacked from the last time I moved.
Yeah, I've got stuff that went straight from my loft into the moving van and then straight to the loft.
Into your new loft.
Did it have loft written on the box?
I think it did, yeah.
Is it Christmas decorations and a box of spiders?
Dead spiders. Yeah.
Generally what lives in lofts.
Yeah. Collect those, put them in the box. Yeah.
We've had our first answer to the question, the mystical question in the chat room. It's from Doreen, and she has put 9 and 96.
Good numbers. Good numbers.
Yeah.
It's a solid start.
Have you got any, Lee?
Me?
Yeah. Any answers?
23. I'm just trying to remember all of them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'll write them down. I'll come back to you.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So stuff that doesn't actually get unpacked. Yeah, I did have a box that just said loft in it. That did just go straight to the loft.
Is it a loft? Is it like a smaller loft? And in that is a box with a smaller loft. And it just goes on forever.
Infinitum.
That's the one. Of lofts.
Like the inception of loft rooms.
Yes.
Crazy. No, actually, no. Funny enough, no.
But I once lived with a load of film students, and they were thinking about making a film called Loft, which was like Lost, but except they were trapped in a loft instead of on an island.
Ah.
I don't know whatever happened to that.
I take it never saw the light of day.
And it sounded interesting.
Okay, well...
A mysterious loft full of, what do they call, polar bears.
And smoke monsters.
Yeah.
Let's not go down this rabbit hole.
Let's open the hatch. Oh, fuck, we're in somebody's living room.
Pete, you're in the process of trying to find a house at the moment, aren't you?
I am indeed, yes. I think this was the basic premise of doing this one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The fun and games and jolly japes of actually moving house and looking for somewhere. Yes. Yeah, we're currently partway through. Well, actually, we've just had the survey results back on the place we're currently looking at buying. And as you can possibly tell by the tone of voice, I'm not very happy about it already. So it's going really well.
Yeah. Well, like Lee said, it is one of the most stressful things you can do throughout your whole life.
Yeah, I mean, this one, it's not so much the actual moving and all the rest of it. It's the fact that people turn into lying bastards when they're trying to sell their house.
Would that be the estate agents or the actual people that are selling the house, though?
Both, generally speaking. This one, we actually met the woman who's selling the place, and we said, "Oh, is everything in order?" And she goes, "Oh yes, this boiler was fitted 3 years ago, and I've got all the certificates for it. It's all in order, and this, that, and the other." And we got the survey results back today, and it said, "Yeah, no evidence of any safety certificates or whatsoever for electrics, the gas, nothing." And we're just, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
Oh, nice.
This is coming off the back of the previous place that we offered on. We got the survey results back on that, and essentially the bits that weren't underwater were on fire, and if we moved in, we both were caught AIDS.
Wow.
It was a horrific. I mean, the house was lovely. It's a really nice place, but we got the survey result back, and I don't know if most people should know this, I would imagine, but when you get your home buyers report done, it lists everything in the house on a scale of 1, 2, and 3. Well,
right.
1 is hunky-dory, you're fine, brilliant, don't have to bother. 2 is, you might want to have a look at this. And 3 is, run the fuck away, don't even bother. And this place, if it wasn't a 2, it was a 3. The only place it scored 1 was the chimney stack, because it didn't have one. The key phrase for me was, many of the roof joists are simply not there, having never been fitted in the first place, and wouldn't even have complied with building regulations at the time of building.
Wow.
The much of the inside insulation and felting to the roof has rotted away because the bathroom extractor fan discharges directly into the roof space. Evidence of DIY wiring in the electrics on the outside of the property. We're just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Guttering needs replacing. The asbestos roof in the garage probably needs looking at. You're just like, oh, fucking hell. So, yeah, we pulled out of that one.
Yeah, I imagine quite quickly as well.
But the worst thing was, I mean, looking back at it, I mean, the alarm bells should have gone off, because we found out that the owner currently lives in New York, but her 21-year-old son lives on his own in the property. And first time we went round, we walked in, and I thought, okay, I thought, what's that smell? That's an interesting smell. That's quite a familiar smell. And the estate agent looked at me and said, "Oh, you've smelt it as well?" I said, "Yeah, I was a student. I know what that smell is."
Oh.
And so I was just like,
I love that smell, by the way.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? But whilst we were looking around the house, the fucker's dealer turned up. So that really should have set the alarm bells off. But we were so blinded by this lovely house. It had this lovely lean-to at the back. I could imagine turning into like a barbecue and sort of Hawaiian tiki's bar sort of looking place. I fell in love with it, but no, really not.
What was the describing it as? Did they use phrases, like unique opportunity?
No, they were actually pretty straight with it. Actually, they weren't too bad until we started asking questions, because there were a couple of lights that didn't work in the property. And I said to because we looked at the house twice. I said, is it just because the light bulbs are gone, or is it the electrics? And they said, oh, no, it's the bulbs. And you come back on the survey, actually, no, don't turn any of these lights on. They're wide in funny, and yeah, they're outside as well. So wow. It was a little bit kind of
like a kind of that game Operation where you got to try and remove bits. At any stage, you could press the light bulb and something will explode and things will go off.
Open.
Yeah. yeah. Actually, like Buckaroo. Yeah, touch something and something will fly off or fall down.
It's weird. That house. I mean, I'm surprised it's still standing, quite frankly. But I think the entire row, because it's a mid-terrace, I think the entire row are all the same. So they're just holding each other up by the sound of it.
If it's in the mid-terrace, you're all right. It's the ones that you want to worry about.
But no, that really wasn't good. But then I think I'm cursed when it comes to buying houses. Because way back when I bought my very first house back in, 2001. Me and the girlfriend at the time, we were renting a place in Cambridge, and we thought, well, we want to buy our own place, but we can't really afford it. And she was looking through the local papers and whatever, and we found out that they were doing a mass sale of houses at RAF Whitton.
Oh yeah.
And basically, this housing company called Annington bought 120 ex-MOD houses on the RAF base.
Oh, nice.
And they were selling them at, frankly, ridiculously low prices. So we went along to the sales office on the civilian part of the base, and we said, look, we're interested. We'd like to register our interest. What's the process? They said, well, it's an auction. There's 120 houses. Of these 120, 60 are earmarked for ex-MOD personnel. So places 1 to 60 in the queue are sort of reserved. And then after that, anybody can join the queue. And we're like, oh, right, what so you mean a queue? So on the day, you come up and you literally stand in line, and when it comes your turn, you can kind of have a look at the houses. They said, well, essentially, yes, but we advise you to start queuing fairly early. Oh, right, okay. How early's early? And the woman said, yesterday. I said, what? The sale's not for another 2 weeks yet, love. What do you mean? She goes, yeah, we are allowing people to camp. And they'd started camping to get these houses.
What, for when people camp for our iPhones?
Literally, yes.
Jeez. For a house?
For a house.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's a house, isn't it?
I'd rather do it for a house than an iPhone.
Well, that's exactly what happened next. Because I looked at the girlfriend, and she looked at me, and we said, well, these houses, because it's the prices that they were listed at are what they were going to go for. And the ones that we liked the look of were 69,950, which back in 2001 was pretty damn good. Mm. So we thought, well, we're going to do quite nicely if we can get one of these houses. So she looked at me, I looked at her, I said, well, should we do it then? She said, well, we are booked to go on holiday to Spain in a couple of days. So you can probably see what's coming next. I went home and got my tent, and she fucked off to Heathrow and went to Spain for 2 weeks. Whereas I pitched my tent, got number 8 in the civilian queue, but I pitched my tent and kind of morphed into an amalgam of Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now and Father Jack. And I camped for the entire duration. And we got this house, and it's a mid-terrace 2-bed house for 69,950, which we promptly sold 3 years later for 130.
Bonus.
So we did quite well.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That kind of set the bar for what I have to do to get a house.
Yeah.
Because as I say, we sold that place. We moved to another place in Huntingdon, and then she decided to boot me out. So that was quite nice of her.
Did she have a nice holiday in Spain?
Yes, she did.
Well,
it's
then,
the kind of holiday you go on if you don't have a partner. But yeah, she had a nice time. Whilst Muggins here is sat in a fucking tent in the pissing rain in fucking Huntingdon.
Right, well, maybe that
but
was...
you're not bitter, though.
Not bitter at all. No, not at all. Not at all bitter.
Maybe that was the chat up line. Maybe it was, well, where's your other half? Well, he's sat in a tent now.
He's at home in the tent, pissed out of his tiny little mind to try and cope with the boredom.
Yeah.
Because most people that were queuing as well, I forgot to add this, most people that were queuing were couples or families. So one person could be in...
They didn't mind the drunk in the corner, the drunk Father Jack.
Yeah.
In the middle of all these families.
Yeah.
Feck. Girls.
Back off!
Knickers.
Because you have to stay, and this is the kicker, you have to stay... Somebody had to man your tent for 22 out of 24 hours.
How did they check? Was it
they checked. They'd literally go up and...
those war films and they're walking past and shining torches in your face?
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. So if you've got a family of 4, you can take it in turns. But if it's just you on your own, it's not much fun.
22 out of 24 hours. Flipping hell.
I went for 8 days.
That must have honked in there.
It was awful. I mean, they did open. There were 3 houses that they'd kind of opened, like, so you could use the toilets and the showers and stuff. But yeah, that was not a fun couple of weeks. That was fairly nightmarish.
I've got some answers in the chat room for us for our mystery question that we've been asking through Mixler. First off, we have a Mr. Lee Harvey.
Weirdo.
Who had he?
He's put 56, 37, 9, 13, and 172A. We also have Drew Barker. Hello, Drew. He has said 11 and 16A. And then we get to Mr. Jim Moon. Are you ready for this? I think he's lived in more than you, maybe.
We'll see.
30.
They're the only ones I can remember. There's loads more.
3, 50, 4, 7, 6, 2, 7, 2, 21, 52, 9, 8. Wow. And then Gaz follows up with 8, 15, 120, and 7. So, well done to you guys.
Everyone's a winner.
Yeah.
Or loser.
Or just...
No one knows.
Yeah. Maybe we won't be playing this game ever again.
I don't know. It's going well. Keep it up.
It's not the winning, it's the taking part.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When you said about the smell in this student's house that you said that you was going to look at, when me and Amanda were looking at our first house, we were looking around Plumstead, and we found a house which we eventually bought, but it always smelled of like the can air fresheners every single time we went there.
That's always a good sign.
Well, it smelled quite pleasant. We was like, oh, that's all right, isn't it?
Did it have the Glade plugins knocking around?
Yes.
You know, that give out the smell every now and then, because that's normal, isn't it? But if it was like half a can had been emptied as you walk through the door, that's when you want to start worrying.
It had the Glade plugins, and you could almost see the mist inside.
Just one of them per plug, not like an extension plug with 8 of them in.
Yeah, you didn't go into the second bedroom. There's loads of magic trees hanging off the ceiling.
No, there were no magic trees. But what we worked out once we actually moved into this house, Amanda got the keys and entered the house, and I walked in there before we moved any of our stuff in, because it was before we were all gathering our stuff together, so we would put them into one house. So it was just a case of bringing it from our parents' houses into that house. So there was no removals van to worry about. So we had to wander around the house, and all of a sudden this smell hit us, and it turns out his dog stunk, and he was trying to cover up the musty smell of his dog.
Ooh, that's not good.
It was one of them dogs. It was a lovely dog, but you kind of got a greasy hand every time you stroked him. And it didn't click until we'd bought the house and moved into the house and took everyone around the house, and everyone was going, "It's really nice. It smells a bit though, doesn't it?" So that took a couple of bottles of the shake and vac to get rid of that stuff.
All of the Febreze in Plumstead.
Yeah, it certainly was, yeah.
All 2 bottles of it.
Yeah, and pretty sure half the light bulbs were missing as well. Because I didn't know people actually did that.
Oh, people do that. People do that, yeah.
People take bulbs, and if it's not written on there, they can also take floorboards as well.
Yeah.
Really?
They'll take anything they can. I've rented, the flat I'm in at the moment, I rented it out for 6 months on a contract, and they basically, if it wasn't nailed down, they nicked it.
Mm.
It was fucking disgusting. This is why I hate people.
Well, it was when we bought this house, it was written on an itinerary of what is staying and what is going, and nothing about light bulbs or anything like that. And
it's because you generally tend to think that people aren't that cheap. Oh, fuck me, they are.
Yeah.
When I moved out of a flat in London, actually, the landlady said, because she lived in South Africa, so it was all communicated via emails. And she was like, well, what's the problem? Are there any problems or anything that you need to take off the deposit? And I was like, not really. There's, a couple of light bulbs are not working. And she wanted to charge me for that. She wanted to charge me for the replacement of the light bulbs. Like, really? What? £1.40, something like that? It never went through. The estate agents laughed at them.
Good.
Yeah. But then again, you could question it. Well, when you got the house, were the light bulbs working? Yes, they were.
Yeah, it is completely my fault.
Well, yeah, you have actually used these light bulbs. You've worn them out.
We were cooking with these light bulbs, just holding stews and things up to them.
The light bulb went a week after I moved in. I've not changed it. It's sat in the dark.
Exactly. Well, it was London, so you can either pay your rent or have your heating
or your electric.
You can't do both.
Yeah. So, have you found anything when you've moved into these houses? When I say that, have you found any trinkets or anything left in the loft, like pornography or anything like that?
No, you'll like this. Right. When I lived in Tooting, there was a guy, he was South African as well, actually, but he was very, very, very strange. I won't go into the details of why he was strange, just trust me that he was strange. When he moved out, we went upstairs to have his bigger room, and there was loads of furniture and things that he left behind, and it was really good, and we were moving everything around. And you can get those corner shelves?
Yeah.
So they go into the corner bookshelf and whatever, and it doesn't go right up to the corners, it's quite flat at the back. When we moved it out, there was just a big kitchen knife lying on the ground.
Ooh.
He would have had to have placed it there. There's no reason, because these were quite high bookshelves. They were almost up to the ceiling.
Yeah.
There's no reason why there should be a massive kitchen knife at the back of these things. And we lived with this guy for about a year. He was weird.
Christ, he didn't have like secret peepholes or anything like that, did he?
Drilling holes in the floor
with something.
He used to make moves towards one of the other females in the house, and my girlfriend at the time, actually, she said that he crept up on her when they were walking back in the evening, like not together, they'd been on the same tube or something, and he like grabbed her and went boo or something like that, and said, "Oh, you should watch where you're going. I could have raped you." You're like, what?
You what?
Yeah, could have, but he chose not to.
This guy was properly weird.
I'm getting creeped out now. I wish I'd drawn the curtains. That is freaky, man.
That's what sharing houses in London is like.
Oh, no, thank you.
Weird guy. Honestly, a massive kitchen knife. I just threw it away.
Right, well...
I didn't want to go to the police and say... Because he ran a bouncers thing company, and was always off telling us about how he had to go out and help do this and help break up something, and he was always saying about how hard he was and how he could get people shot and weird. Oh God, yeah.
Good Lord.
Very, very strange person.
Gaz in the chat room says the toilet seat is also on the itinerary, so whether or not the toilet seat will still be there when you buy your next house. That's on the itinerary. So with the light bulbs, probably curtains as well, toilet seat.
My tenants nicked the toilet seat as well.
Did they?
Yeah, they were cunts though.
What would you do with a toilet seat?
It's because people are bastards. It's just to piss you off, I think. That's all it is. That's why else would you nick a light bulb?
Yeah.
Well, you can use that.
You might not be able to if it's a screw fitting and you've nicked a bayonet.
That's true. They should really do their research before they move out.
Exactly. So it's just to piss you off.
Or maybe their next house didn't have a toilet seat. In a way, that's your fault for not putting it down on the itinerary.
It was down on the itinerary.
Do you know,
right.
if we all stop nicking toilet seats, then there's no need to take a toilet seat.
I've never stolen a toilet seat. That is a sentence I didn't think I'd say today.
Okay. The house that me and Amanda...
I did not admit to not having stolen toilet seats.
I have never stolen a toilet. Why would I want to steal a toilet seat? There is no need to steal a toilet seat. If I move into a house, the question is, that toilet seat's staying, isn't it? And if it comes back, well, it's staying, isn't it? Yes, it's staying. Thank you very much. The house me and Amanda moved into...
the last 30 seconds of this. My speaker's cut out for some reason. Have you got like a mute button?
I haven't got...
Shut him up now, quick, press the mute.
I can if you want. That's fine. I've got no problems in that. The house me and Amanda first moved into in Plumstead, I think it was maybe a year after we moved in, we stripped the walls in the hallway, and behind the old wood chip wallpaper that was on the walls were 3 paintings. Now, they weren't paintings you'd hang up. These were actually painted onto the plaster.
Oh, like a mural?
Kind of, yeah. But they weren't...
Not like the Madonna with the big boobies, not that kind of thing.
No.
Hidden away.
Think of a Banksy.
Like a stencil thing.
No, it wasn't. No, this was hand painted. I've still got photos of it, and I'll put them in the group at a later time when I can find them.
Was it like them French cave paintings? Didn't Neanderthal man had done them?
It
is Essex.
With pictures of wildebeest with arrows in them.
Again, it is Essex.
No, this was down in London at the time, and they were probably about 4 inches by 6 inches, I suppose, and there were pictures of Clovelly. Now, the weird thing that...
Right.
Have you ever been to Clovelly?
Yeah.
And it's got all the weird, very steep cobbled hills.
Yeah.
The weird thing is, we'd just booked a holiday to go to Clovelly.
Ooh. I reckon this is Amanda taking a piss.
It's proper creepy. I remember stripping
have a look
off.
at this.
Yeah. It was proper creepy. But
can you imagine if you looked at the picture and looked up really close, and there, waving back at you, was a picture of you and your family? They just... Oh, how weird would that be?
That would be...
I'm glad you moved.
Incredibly weird, yeah. I'm thinking about that now.
You need to look at those pictures and you need to zoom in and have a look. Just staring out of the window of a hotel, there's Elton. Hello.
There's a little baldy head.
Oh, dear.
Pointing up in disbelief as it can see the face looking down at it.
Yeah.
No more cheese before bed.
Moonlight glinting off of me. Yeah. Okay. First nights in houses. Now, I kind of like waking up in a different house or not knowing where I'm waking up in. When I stay around the mother-in-law's, when we all go around there, and you wake up in the morning and you have that split second of, I don't know where I am. When you wake up, I love that feeling, and it's always weird. I always lay in bed giggling to myself that we're in the new house. Like, we own this. What the hell? Because you have to get used to it, don't you?
I always worry I'm going to piss in the wardrobe, and only about 60% of the time I do.
Oh,
it's good numbers. You do get excited though, you know. As long as it is stressful to move house, of course, but once you've done it, that's kind of exciting, though, isn't it? Once everything's finished, and you still got one pack, or not, as the case may be. But yeah, you're right. Waking up in a new place, and it's like the idea of where you're going to put everything, how's everything going to be organised as a new place. Yeah, it's good.
For me, it's kind of like going on holiday. I don't get excited until I'm actually sitting on the aeroplane. And I'm kind of the same with moving house. It's not actually happened until I've actually slept in the bed in the new place. And at that point, I go, yes, it's happening. Brilliant.
Yeah. And that's the most possible amount of time before another move.
Yes.
That first night.
Yeah, it's true. But I still get anxious. I get anxious about absolutely everything anyway. Even up to the point of actually going out. And I'll sit there and go, okay, I don't really want to go on holiday. I don't really want to go see this gig. I don't really want to go see this movie. But once you're doing it, I'm fine. And that call when we first got the keys for our first house, Amanda was really excited, all giggly and bubbly and everything. And she go, no, we got keys. We can move in. Brilliant. And my heart was like, oh my God, what we're doing. What we're doing is so much money. Can we afford this? I don't know.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything starts sinking in.
I'm kind of the same, but then I'm in the same thing. I'm like, yes, I've got the keys in hand. I'm not excited about it because I could get run over on the way there.
Yeah.
I might die.
That's very specific. but then it won't be your problem, will it?
It might actually happen, though.
It will happen.
Oh yeah, wow. It will. It'll probably happen in the next few weeks. We've got it. Sniper.
What about viewing houses?
Oh, yeah, that's my personal favourite at the moment.
Go on then, what have you got on viewing houses?
As I say, we're in the process of buying this place. So we have had the fun and games of looking at houses. And first of all, there's always the thing, you go into your estate agent, you say, hello, yes, I'm looking for a house. Or what sort of thing are you looking for? Well, I'm looking for a 2-bedroom house, maximum budget of 160. Oh, right, sir, that's great. Yes, yes. Well, here's a 3-bedroom house for 185. Don't be a dick. I actually, one estate agent did that to me a couple of years ago when I was looking for the place I'm in at the moment, and I just walked out the door and just thought, don't be a cock. But no, at the moment we've got in the area that we were looking, we were a very specific budget, and there wasn't an awful lot coming on the market in our budget range because we had a maximum of about 170 grand to play with. And we were looking for a 2-bed sort of place, and all this that sort of thing. So we said, right, this is what we want. Don't try and fart about and say, "Oh, this is 180," because we're not interested. We won't look. So right, okay, fine. Well, there's this one. This one you'll like. This it's a 1-bedroom maisonette. We've got a garage and all the rest of it. Oh yeah, well, yeah, great. We'll have a look at that one. And if it's nice, it's an area we like the look of. We'll have a look. So brilliant. So they said it is currently tenanted.
Okay.
Which was a phrase that would become the bane of my existence. because currently tenanted. This is a new thing because this is the first time I've looked to buy a house in 8 years.
Yeah.
And in the intervening 8 years, owning a house that the buy to rent market has obviously exploded. So you can sell your house with your current tenants in it. I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently it is.
Do you get them as well?
Yes. So you buy the house, but they're living in it.
But do you own them?
Yeah.
If I could sell them for slavery or for vivisection, I fucking well would. Because again, we're going back to the Pete Hammond theory of people are cunts. Because, as I say, long story short, on this first one, we went round, the current tenants were in there, and they followed us and they glared at us the whole time we were there. Made us feel very, very uncomfortable.
You can't blame them, though. Their house has been sold from underneath them.
That's the thing.
Homeless, you bastard.
Yeah, shame on you.
Fuck them. I don't care. Fuck them. Fuck them in the eye. And I'll do it again, I tell you. But no, what they should basically say is, this one's currently tenanted. Are you buying to rent? No, I'm buying to live in it. In that case, don't look at this one then, sir. So we had that one. Then we had another one. Again, this is one. This is in Huntingdon. This one was a 3-bedroom house on £165,000, currently tenanted. Right, okay, fine. We'll give it a go. We got there. The place was a fucking dive. The current tenants were employing a tactic known as make the place look shit to put the people off.
Now Gaz has put that in the chat room. He has said, what does he say? I don't get why people don't clean up when viewings are happening.
Oh no, I can completely understand why these people did it.
Oh yeah,
because they basically they don't want to move out. They're renting this house that the landlord is selling from under them, which I can understand completely is a pretty shitty thing to do on the landlord's part. But it's also, I'm trying to buy somewhere to live, so I kind of want to look at a nice, decent place. And we went to this one house. We were a little bit late because we couldn't find it. And we got there, and the estate agent was there, stood on the doorstep. She goes, "Oh, a little bit late, but don't worry." She goes, No, I've been knocking. There's nobody in." So she rung the doorbell again, and knocked on the door. No answer. Right, open the door. Great, step in. "Hello, Thomas Morris. We're here to look around the house. Blah blah blah." No response. Great, right, okay. Well, here's the kitchen. Look in there, and there was washing up and unprepared food on the side. And thinking, right, okay, this isn't great.
Yeah.
Went into the living room, which was a fucking tip. It's awful. We then came out into the hallway, started going up the stairs, and this bloke appeared at the top of the stairs. "What the fucking hell do you want?" We're looking around the house with a view to buying it. "Well, nobody told us." And the poor estate agent was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
She goes, "Well, I was knocking on the door for 10 minutes, and I did shout up, 'Well, never fucking heard you.'" And we're like, "Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, do you mind if we have a look around?" Right, well, this is the main bedroom. "Don't go in there, somebody asleep." Right, that's it, we're going. Fuck you, we're off. So we just walked out. Estate agent followed us and said, "Well then, we'll call you during the week to get your feedback." I said, "You can have our fucking feedback now, love."
Answer's no, yeah.
She went, "Okay, well, what did you reckon to it?" I said, "Well, I was first put off by the overflowing jam jar of fag ends on the front doorstep." She goes, "Yeah, you saw that, did you?" I said, "Yes, I fucking did."
That's a unique modern art sculpture.
Yeah, it was
the value of the house.
It was a work in progress as well, by the looks of it.
That's constant art. It's a
yes. And then we sacked that one off, and then we looked at another one, and it just come on the market. It was coming on the Monday, and they said, we can show you around on the Saturday because obviously you've been looking with us before and stuff. So he's just put it on the market. It's all newly decorated. Oh, great, that's nice. That'll do. Thinking, newly decorated to sell your house. It's all going to be white and magnolia. It's going to look really good. So we go in there, and he hadn't touched the front room in a good couple of decades, I'd say. And I thought, well, this doesn't look very recently decorated, unless he's, life on Mars. And then we went into the kitchen, and he said, and the vendor was there as well as the estate agent, and he was very pleased with the redecoration job he'd done in the kitchen. As I say, if you're going to redecorate the place to sell, you choose magnolia, white, sort of neutral tones. No, he'd gone for the biggest bucket of turquoise paint he could find, and he'd done the walls and the cupboards.
Oh, no.
I was coming off the back of a fairly hefty concussion through playing rugby. I couldn't tell where the cupboards started and the walls finished. I was having real issues, and I was just like, I can't be doing with this.
That'd give me a migraine.
It was... I genuinely couldn't tell what was what in there. It would give me a headache, and I was just like, no, fuck this. So that was a no. And we went straight from that one, because we booked like 4 or 5 bookings in one day. We went straight from that one into the House of Wonders. And we went in, and usual drill, knock on the door. This one was tenanted as well. And we went in, and the place was a pigsty. It was astonishing, the amount of crap that was just strewn everywhere. So we're right, okay, well, if you ignore the rubbish everywhere, it's not too bad, right? Let's have a look in the kitchen. And they'd built an extension on the kitchen, but they hadn't taken down the internal wall. So you had the external wall. So you had the back wall of the house, and then you had the extension beyond it. So you still had a double glazed window
Did you have pebble dashing inside the house as well?
Yes.
Excellent.
And even better, the back door was still the back door. And then you had the extension beyond. So you had essentially two back doors. But the dining room table and everything was on the original inside of the house, along with the sink. But the oven was in the extension.
This is technically outside.
So it was, and I was just sort of, at that point, I was just like, right, well, we're not interested, but let's have a look around the rest of the house and see what the fuck else they've done.
It'd be nice and warm in the winter in your extension. It'd be lovely and warm, though.
Yeah, especially if you're cooking a roast.
Exactly, yes.
But then, this was one house, and it slipped my mind at the time, but the wife had got a little bit excited because it had a downstairs loo, as well as a bathroom. So I thought, well, we can't figure out where the loo was. Anyway, never mind. So we're in the kitchen, next to the sink, next to the dining room table, and there's a door. And I'm thinking, oh, what's in this cupboard? Oh, it's the downstairs bog. So literally off the kitchen, straight into the bog. Which could make for an interesting Christmas dinner, I suppose.
Yeah, that's not great, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, and then we went up the stairs and sort of went into the bathroom, and that was, it wasn't too bad. Standard sort of bathroom, could have done with a clean. And then, and I do apologise now for any listeners who are of a nervous disposition, we opened the main bedroom door.
Wow, 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 wow.
To find the current tenant enjoying super happy fun time.
What, he was playing Mario Kart?
Playing Mario something. Hunched over his laptop.
Listening to the Shonky Lab, right?
Yeah.
In the Mixler.
Have we got a user
Euphemism.
Have we got a user in the chat called Beast with One Back? Essentially, this man was just masturbating furiously whilst we were looking around his house. And we're just like, all right, can we go now, please?
He wasn't with a lady friend. It was just a computer.
No, he was having a wank.
Oh, my word.
He was having a wank in the main
Good
bedroom.
on him.
Yeah, well done him.
Yeah.
Don't shake his hand on the way out, though. Christ.
No, I just looked at the estate agent and said, I think this one's a no, isn't it? And he went, yep. So off we went. And that was that one.
Well, you could kind of go up to him and say, okay, I want 50 grand off of it. And he'll be caught in the predicament.
Yeah. Yes!
No, I don't want to say yes. No.
Yes!
No!
But, yes, and that was that one. But my absolute favourite, and this... Oh, yes, there's more.
Were all these in the same part of the country?
This is all in Huntingdon. This is all in the past month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we found this other one. It's a 2-bed maisonette. And we thought, okay, we'll have a look at it, see what it's like. And we said, well, can we come round at 4:30 on the Saturday? And they said, no, we'll be in. So come round at 4:00 when we'll be out. All right, fine, fair enough. So we meet the estate agent there at 4:00 and does the usual knock on the door before letting herself in, and knocked on the door, and the tenants opened the door. So, right, okay, this is immediately starting to sound a little bit like a setup, as in, let's make it difficult for the potential buyer by making the place seem like a shithole. Now, as I say, it's a 2-bed maisonette. We went up into the living room, and there were 4 adults.
Was there a bowl with keys anywhere?
No, worse. Now, this is
worse.
What can be worse?
Oh, this is the one that I preempted you on Messenger the other day, Elton. For people that don't know me, I have a very strange phobia, and it's most people it's spiders, it's snakes, it's sharks. For me, and I'm fully aware of how politically incorrect this does seem, but I have a genuine phobia of the permanently befuddled, shall we say. It just scares me. It panics me. I don't know why. I feel bad for it, but it happens. Anyway, one of the 4 adults had Down syndrome, and it terrified me. It was really weird. I know it's bad, but yes. But that wasn't the worst thing. The worst thing was they clearly had set this up to make it awkward for us to look around. As I say, 4 adults in a 2-bed maisonette.
Yeah.
And we went to the main bedroom, and we're about to go in when there was a shout from the living room of the current tenants, shouting, "Be careful with there's somebody asleep in there." Bearing in mind it's 4:30 in the afternoon. On cue, and I wish I was making this up, somebody standing the other side of the door started going...
They're not winning any Oscars for this, I think.
No, and I just looked at the estate agent and I said, if any other houses come up on the market and this says currently tenanted, we don't care. We don't want to know.
No. I was going to say, were you still using the same estate agents by this point?
This was 4. We were using about 4 or 5 in the area. 2 of them were with the same one. I'd say the blue room and the wanking room, they were with the same estate agent, but the others are different ones.
That's amazing.
But the knock on from this one, and this astonished me, is the following Saturday I was doing our weekly Tesco shop, and I was very aware of a woman staring at me. I thought, this is freaking me out a little bit. And in the end, wherever I went, this woman was staring at me. She was there. And I just said, look, I've caught you staring at me a couple of times. Do you know me from somewhere? What is the issue? Are my flies undone? Have I got toilet paper hanging out the back of my trousers? What's up? And she goes, I know you from somewhere. I really know you from somewhere. I really recognise you. And I looked at her and I thought, I looked round your house last weekend. She goes, oh, yeah, that's it. I knew I recognised you from somewhere. Yeah, fucking bastards trying to sell the fucking flat out from under us. Fucking... And I'm just like, whoa, Alan, pull your jets out, love. Fucking hell. And people like you think you can fucking come in bloody whenever you want. And I'm thinking, you changed the fucking time from when we could come in. And she started effing and jeffing, carrying on at me, really giving it some. And at one point, I was past giving a fuck at this point. So and I'm not a small bloke, as I say, shaved head, tattoos, built like a brick shit house. So I just went, why don't you just fuck off? And took my voice in the middle of Tesco's. And she did. Because I just had enough. I just thought, you do not go up to somebody like that and just bawl them out for essentially trying to buy a house.
Elton?
Yeah?
If I've learnt anything from this evening, it's that Huntingdon is full of weirdos.
Oh, fuck me, is it ever? It's awful.
I wouldn't even consider it.
It's no, I mean, we're now, I mean, the other place that we were going to catch AIDS from if we were going to live there, that was in a place called Warboys, which is a little village a bit further out. This other one that we're currently umming and ahhing over is in Upwood, which is another RAF base. It's a World War II bomber Pathfinder unit. But no, I refuse to live in Huntingdon now. I've had enough. I mean, the flat where I am at the moment, we're currently going through, and I can say this now because it's all been and done with, actually. We had a case of a bloke, one of the tenants who's now moved out, where he was evicted, really liked the look of another of the tenant's sat-navs and offered him £40, and the man whose sat-nav it was said, "No, I like my sat-nav. It tells me where to go and stuff." So the guy that wanted the sat-nav broke into the guy's car and stole the sat-nav.
Oh, God.
Wow.
The guy whose car it was phoned the police. "Hello, my sat-nav, my car has been broken into. Some things have been stolen." He was so drunk when he phoned up, because he's a massive pisshead. He was so drunk when he phoned the police, he gave the wrong address. Can you guess which address he gave? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he gave the address of the bloke who broke into his car.
Yeah.
So the police, when they were coming round to get witness statements, because I'm a director of the Residents Association here, they came round to get a statement off of me, and the guy was so confused. He said, "We don't know what's going on here, mate. Apparently the bloke broke into his own car to steal somebody else's sat-nav or something. We don't know what the fuck's going on." So, yeah, I want to move out of Huntingdon as soon as I fucking can.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Lee, right, we got 8 minutes. Have you got any tales of viewing houses?
Well, I've never actually owned my own house, so I'm completely rental. I'm the kind of person that Pete would kick out of their house and leave them homeless, just because he wants an extension with an oven in it. But
look, we all need somewhere to wank.
I've actually been interviewed to move into a house.
Interviewed to
That's
what?
weird.
What does that mean?
Because obviously, if you go in to share a place, there was a couple in there already, and another couple were moving out, and they wanted another couple to move in. So, as well as actually going to have a look at the place, we were essentially interviewed. We had to sit there with them for like an hour and chat about stuff and talk about these things. We almost went to the pub with these complete strangers. Kind of like a sort of housing speed date almost.
Mm.
I thought that was standard.
Well, maybe I'm wrong.
It's
Where I'm at now is there's a landlord who owns a place and he operates it. He's not really that bothered who goes in and out. I think in this case, because it was their house, they wanted to know who was coming in, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so now I don't even know the names of half of the people that live in this house because I've not met them yet. But then it only concerns me and my one room.
Right.
Because I certainly inspaced using it, but they're interviewed. And what's that fucking film with Ewan McGregor in it? Before Trainspotting. Shallow Grave.
Right. I've never been interviewed before like
That's
that.
Weird. I kind of
okay. Well, obviously, you go in and you talk to people and you have a little chat. I'm talking about like a proper hour-long, serious sit down and facing you and talking to you.
And this is just to rent a house.
This is just to live in the place, yeah. Because
I can't blame people for doing that nowadays because they probably end up with their houses turned over, something rotten.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're going to live. They were living there as well, so they wanted to know who was coming in, which is fair enough. But it was just the very official way of doing it that I found very, very, very strange.
Hmm.
I wish that, because as I say, I rented this flat out for a brief period. I wish I'd had the time to interview the people that are going to be renting off me.
Yeah.
Genuinely, because I would never have rented to them.
Although we were not asked about the toilet seats.
Will you be bringing?
Question number 1: do you have your own toilet seat?
Question number 2: are you a dick?
Will you be bringing your own bulbs? What wattage will these bulbs be?
Are they screw cap or bayonet? Because I'm not changing the fittings to suit.
Okay,
yeah,
right.
But most of the places I've moved into have either been you go around with the landlord, and there's no one else there, or the landlord's not that bothered because it's only the one little space. So yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I honestly can't blame people from doing that. My sister-in-law owned a house, and she ended up renting out her house when they moved. So they kept their old house, bought a new house, and then rented out the old one.
Yeah, that's what I did.
And in the end, she said it just wasn't worth the hassle because of the grief that went through, even trying to get the people out before she sold the house underneath them.
Yeah,
she
know
wanted
that.
them to find a house before she sold it. And it was just the grief of waiting for them to find it, because they're in no hurry. They're quite happy just sitting in their nice house.
Yeah.
But you can give notice, though, can't you?
Yes, you can.
And you know, it's legally binding. They have to go. I don't know when people become squatters. I don't know how that works.
I don't know the law on squatting or anything like that. I've never had to deal with it. I'm sure as soon as I have to deal with it, then I'd know everything about it.
I think the way that mine was done, they were on a minimum 6-month contract, and then after that, I could either evict them on the 6 months, or after that, I had to give them a month's notice.
Mm.
And I evicted them the second I could.
Right.
Because they were phenomenal bastards.
But the idea of interviewing people doesn't really always work, because obviously we spent time when I moved into the house with the guy who was weird. He seemed very nice.
I'm sure they all do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. We're at 57 minutes at the moment. I'm going to wrap it up. We're going to come back for a part 2?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Good, because I've got some stories. Definitely.
I don't think Pete's finished yet.
I'm sure he's got loads of stories. And don't worry, I won't be purchasing a house off of him at any point in my life whatsoever.
Well, certainly not going for a viewing with him.
No
What's
way.
this on the wall? Oh, my God.
It's a picture of Elton.
Yeah. So
it's a picture of Elton on holiday.
Oh my word! I will be putting them photos up in the Shonky Lab at some point. So the people listening to this on the podcast will be joining you in around about 30 seconds. So don't worry. We won't be going anywhere. People in Mixler will have a 15-minute wee break. We'll synchronise our watches and we'll be back as soon as we can. So tatty bye for now, and we'll see you very, very soon.
Awesome. I'm sat here watching Fast and Furious 6 with the sound off.
Oh, bless you.
And it's improved it, but I still get the giggles at that Mark II Escort.
Don't ruin it for me. I haven't seen it yet.
There's a blue Mark II Escort in Fast and Furious 6. It cracks me up.
Mark II, okay. Has it got fog lights on the front?
It has. It's blue and it's got white racing stripes. It's so funny.
Has it got
everybody else is driving around in big American muscle cars, your Camaros, all this, that, and the other Mustang. There's a fucking Escort. It's hilarious.
What wheels has it got? Has it got
a pimped up one though?
Oh, it's pimped up. Yeah, it's not a rust bucket, but it's definitely a Mark II Escort. It's so funny.
It hasn't got the pepper pot wheels on it, has it?
No, it's not on screen. The Rock's on screen at the moment.
The Rock, yes.
I'll watch anything with him in it.
Can you smell? Carry on.
Right, okay, we're going to carry on with what we're supposed to be talking about.
Does he have to rent his elbows out? Because it's the people's elbows, isn't it? So what if he wants to do stuff with them?
Rock.
Sorry, carry on.
The Rock rent his elbows out.
Yeah, because it's the people's elbow, isn't it? His special move, or did I make that up?
I don't know.
Yeah, but it's like in North Korea, you just share it.
So if I want some cleaning done, I want a bit of elbow grease doing.
Yeah.
Here, Dwayne, come round here.
Book in, yeah. First come, first served, I think.
I honestly don't know what is going on now.
I might have dreamt
if it wasn't the people's elbow, then it would be in private hands, and you'd have to pay more for it.
But you wouldn't be able to have your right elbow in your right hand because you can't do that.
Stop this. Stop this. That's it. No more. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shonky Lab. Jesus Christ. Hopefully you haven't heard what's just been said, because flipping hell, I do not know what's going on. I'm Elton. I'm joined here with Lee.
Hiya.
And Pete.
Hello.
And we're talking about moving house. Or we're supposed to be talking about moving house. So
what I really want to know, though, was the Rock's signature move the people's elbow? That's going to bug me now.
I think it was.
I'm fairly certain it was.
I'm 99% sure it was.
Well, actually, you've given me a subtopic for next episode. Rock, not the Rock. Wrestlers' signature moves, I think.
Can we all have our own signature moves?
There you go. Oh, it's evolving straight away.
Next week's show.
Yeah.
This week.
I'm giving out signature moves.
Can I have crushing disappointment?
Only if you're in the chat room. Not now. Anyway, moving house.
Furious wank.
If you need me to dish that out to you, dearie me.
I do not want you dishing out furious wanks.
Are you sure?
I'm fairly positive.
Fairly.
Explosive flatulence, yeah, that kind of thing.
Right, it was mentioned, I can't remember who by it or when or what, about pets. Who
moving
mentioned
pets.
Moving pets. When we move, we have to take our pets with us. Some people don't, because they're either idiots or sometimes you get the house that comes with the dog. The dog with no teeth and no eyes and no ears. And it'll be cruel for him to move into a new house because he'll keep bumping into the furniture because he knows where everything is at the moment. One of my aunties moved into a house which came with a dog. And I've taken my cat with me as well to the house I'm in at the moment. And we went through that phase of, okay, do we have to put butter on his feet or something? There's a myth about cats and putting butter on their feet.
Oh, I just want to get a cat now and butter it.
No, honestly, all right, I've heard this because you have to... It's something about them cleaning and licking their hands, and then once they're cleaning themselves, they're content and they're happy at home.
No, it's Tabasco sauce on the bumhole. That's what you're thinking of.
Right, okay. There's
the
something
cat's
about
bumhole,
it.
not yours.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, I was thinking, I'm not going to do that. I have heard this myth about putting butter on their feet so they can lick it makes them lick themselves and then makes them feel content. We didn't go down that route, though. We just let him wander off, and he was fine.
Isn't butter extraordinarily bad for cats?
I don't know.
Question for the chat there. Have you ever killed your cat with butter?
Isn't that spread?
Margarine?
Yeah, I think.
I can't believe it's not butter on my cat's feet.
Have you guys ever moved a pet?
Yes.
I've moved a goldfish from London to North Derbyshire.
Bloody hell.
I had to sit in the back of the van. I was only 11, holding this tank, and it was one of those proper old school heavy duty ones as well.
Yeah.
With no lid or anything like that. Just the fish slopping around in this thing. It lived for 9 years, that fish. It survived the trip. Yeah.
Bloody hell.
In the chat room, Gareth Thomas has come up with the answer to the cats. He says, with cats, you put butter on them. They don't like to be dirty, so it stops them from going out, and so they can stay home and clean. I don't know if that...
What do they do, like the ironing as well?
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
Do the hoovering.
I've just got this image in my head now of a cat with butter on its feet, skidding like Scooby-Doo. It can't. Yeah. That's why you put the butter on the cat's feet. It's because they can't then move. They're just skidding on the spot. They look like they're running, but they're not actually moving. And by the time all the butter's run out, they can move.
Well, they always land on their feet, don't they? So they jump off something, hit the ground, and then their limbs going off in all directions because they got butter on them, skidding everywhere. Well, someone told me, if you drop a piece of toast, it lands butter side up.
Down.
That's how you make the perpetual motion machine.
Exactly,
you strap. Sorry, carry on.
Strap it to the back of the cat.
Yeah, perpetual motion.
It will just
spin.
That's amazing.
It doesn't work.
Try it, Elton. Try it.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It doesn't work.
There's also nothing funnier than a cat trying to escape a dog on lino or on laminated floor.
At its feet.
Yeah. Well,
have you ever seen that? Oh, there's plenty of them on YouTube. Cats with cucumbers.
Yes.
They're so funny.
I don't get it. What is it?
It's so
weird.
Snake,
isn't it? So they don't know it's there. You hide it behind them, and then they turn and see it, and jump 7 feet into the air and disappear.
It's so brilliant.
Out of the house.
Why a cucumber though? What?
Well, you tell us. You're the one buttering your cat's feet.
No, I didn't butter my cat's feet. That's the thing.
I once taught one of my cats to yawn with its eyes open. It's the freakiest thing you'll ever see. If you've got a cat, whenever it yawns, flick its teeth.
No, why?
Because it's the greatest thing in the world. If you keep flicking their teeth whenever they yawn, they'll start to keep their eyes open when they yawn. And there's nothing funnier than a cat yawning with its eyes open. It's really funny, especially when you've got the in-laws around, because they freak out. Because a cat sits in front of them and yawns with its eyes open, staring at them.
Huntingdon is on the Hellmouth, isn't it? It really is. It's weird
fantastic.
up
My
there.
my missus, she has a grandma that lives up that way, and I don't think I'll be visiting ever again. I'm not going anywhere near there. You guys have cats that yawn with their mouths open.
Eyes open.
Eyes open, sorry. And, other hellish predicaments up there. It scares the bejesus out of me. I'm never going there again.
But you guys have cats, I take it, from this conversation. You've moved them.
I used to, in a previous life, with the ex-girlfriend that fucked off to Spain whilst I was in a tent off my face. There was a classic thing. I don't like cats. She wanted a cat. I said I don't want a cat, so we compromised and got 2.
Cats are wicked.
And these cats were shit. They were rubbish. And when we moved from the RAF place in Witton into Huntingdon, the girlfriend didn't consider the fact that we were living near a main road. We're moving from somewhere that had massive open fields, and I'd fitted a cat flap in the back door so the cats could get in and out. And we had this huge, great field that the cats could go and chase mice and pheasants and God knows what else. To moving into a fairly urban conurbation where we had no fields, we had a main road and we had a car park. And she never sort of gave this 2 thoughts. But the funniest one was getting me to fit a cat flap, because the back door in this new house in Huntingdon didn't have a plastic panel. It was just a fully double glazed glass door, or UPVC or whatever they are. So to fit a cat flap, it wasn't a case of me with a power drill knocking the 4 holes and then getting the jigsaw and cutting the square out. We actually had to buy a new back door panel. So I let her do everything on this. I said, look, I can't fit it. It's glass. I'm not doing it. I'll fuck it up. I'll die. Something will happen stupid. So she actually got it fitted. So to move the cats into this new house, to have a cat flap fitted in the back door cost £700.
Wow. And
I laughed because the cats never worked out which part of the window they could go through.
Were they constantly walking into the door?
Yes.
Just bang, ow.
I can go through this bit, I can't go through that bit. Why am I bashing my face on the wall?
What you're supposed to do
it's
is...
not worth it.
You're supposed to smear the cat's face in butter, so every time it hits the glass, it can see where it's been.
It slides off. Oh dear. Yeah. But no, the actual moving the cats themselves isn't too bad. Once you can get them in the box, it's not too bad. But it's having to keep them indoors for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because cats are outdoors animals just from the smell of their shit. They should live outside. So to have them indoors and not let them go out, it drove me mad.
Cats have a particular smell about theirs, don't they?
Yeah. It's a very acidic sort of smell, isn't it?
Yeah. I've worked in places where the house I'm working in has had a cat and a litter box for the cat. I was working on a stair lift once, and to work on these stair lifts, you have to ride up and down them. So I have great fun just going up the stairs and coming down the stairs. And I came down on this one once, and at the bottom is where the cat mess was. And I came round the corner, and it went down the stairs, and there's this cat just proudly looking up at me going, "Yeah, what?" And he was doing his business, and then he kicked all the back stuff over, and then walked off and turned around, looked at me, and went, "Yeah, good luck with that," and walked off again.
Deal with that.
And it stunk.
A cat that looked at you whilst it was shitting.
It seemed quite pleased I was looking at him.
That's very rare for a cat.
Maybe someone flicked its mouth or something. I don't know. You flick a cat's mouth when it's doing a poo, then it just looks at you.
I heard if you smother its teeth in butter, that makes its shit smell a lot better. Or at least of butter.
Comes out quicker.
It does.
Right, I'm going to tell you about a friend who tried to buy a house recently and was stitched up. He's gone in for this house. It's 20 minutes away from where we live at the moment, and it was on the market for 700 and something. Crazy amount. It's a beautiful house, but absolutely crazy amount. Yes, on the market for that. He's gone in and said, he's looked around the house, said, "Yeah, I want that," and put a bid in. 2 hours later, there was a bid for an extra £80,000 put onto that price. And so now he's in a bidding war. And he got a bit suspicious about this. He bid above it again, and then an hour later, it went up again by about $5,000. And so he got suspicious about this. He looked at the person who he was potentially buying off on Facebook and found out who it was. Then found out from the vendor who was actually putting the bids in, and found out that they were friends on Facebook.
Oh.
Turns out one of his mates was bidding against him to put the price up, and then they were going to split the difference of what they made from that.
Fuckers.
Yeah. So he went straight to the vendor and said, "Hang on a minute."
Fuck that, go straight to the police.
Well, it's fraud, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he's gone to the vendors and said, "Look, you've got to get rid of this. You've got to take him off." And so they struck him off, and they told all the other people around the area, "Don't put this house on because this guy is trying to fleece everyone." So yeah, that's the sort of stuff that you've got to watch out for.
Oh yeah.
Arseholes.
We're like this woman.
People are bastards, aren't they?
People. See, I told you, people are bastards. But it's the one that gets me with buying houses at the moment. This is the bane of this is a real thing for me. Is you've got when you buy a house, you have to have a survey done on it.
Mm-hmm.
And the bog standard, bare minimum legal requirement, what you need to have for a mortgage, is basically a valuation report. And literally, the surveyor, on behalf of your solicitor, will go out, look at the house, might get out of his car and go, "Yeah, that's the house. It's worth this amount. Bob's your uncle. You've got the mortgage." And that's the bare minimum. Then the next one is your home buyer's report, and that's where they actually go into the house and have a look at stuff and do electrical testing or what have you. That's generally what people have done. And then you've got the next step up from that, which is your full, building survey, which is where they go in and they basically take the place apart and rebuild it for you.
Yeah, they see if it's subsided or if it's going to subside.
All that sort of stuff.
Because we had something similar on this house where we still there was asbestos guttering all along this house.
Ooh.
And, well, someone turned around and said, okay, right, you've got to get rid of that. If I hadn't had that survey, then that'd still be up there.
Which is the point I'm making now. A lot of people, I think, a lot of vendors selling the houses are relying on people only getting the valuation report because it's really cheap. I think it's only like 300 quid. The home buyers report is like 550 depending on the size of the house. And then your full building survey is like 800-900 quid.
Yeah.
So this house that's the one in Warboys that we pulled out of because it was basically on the event horizon. The vendor has now, because we obviously said, look, we're pulling out of the sale because it's a shithole, and the estate agent said to us, oh well, obviously they're going to have this problem when the next person comes to buy it. Can we have a copy of your survey? And I said, yeah, of course you can, for £500. And they said, well, we're not going to pay that for it. And I said, well, you're not going to have a look at it then, are you? And they basically, I went back to them and said, look, does the vendor want this or not? Because otherwise I'm going to bin it. And they're like, oh, no, they're not going to. They don't feel that they need to. So what they'd like to do is reduce the amount. And I said, well, if I go back to the Halifax and say, yeah, I only need 120 grand now, I said 160, they're going to ask why, and they're not going to give me the mortgage.
Yeah.
So, no, we're pulling out. So what's happened now is that house has gone back on the market for more than we were going to pay for it. So we offered, I think it was 157.5 because it was on 160. It's now gone back on the market at 160 grand. So me being deeply cynical and essentially believing people to be arseholes, that vendor is relying on their next purchaser only getting the valuation report done. Because they know something's... We've just pulled out because of major stuff. We've not said what, but we said, look, the result of our home buyer report was not favourable, so we've pulled out. So she knows that the next person that gets this done is going to want to pull out again. So I think they're hoping they're going to get away with it by the next purchaser only getting a valuation report done.
Yeah. For legal reasons, I have to say allegedly.
Allegedly, yes.
Allegedly.
Yes.
If this is being played in a courtroom, allegedly, okay?
But they probably will get away with it, though.
But
that's the annoying thing. There will be somebody who will come along and go, you know what, I'm going to save them this money.
You've just undone all that allegedly good work. Damn you.
I mean, if... allegedly, there will be someone that may hypothetically come along.
Yeah, I can't see why they wouldn't. Look at how many people would actually look at the price of these surveys that you have to go get done. They're extortionate.
They are. They're not cheap. I mean, they've come down in price because I offered on a place before I bought my current flat. I found this amazing flat. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was brand new, all done out. Had like a big roof terrace that you go out onto. It was absolutely gorgeous. And you had this spiral staircase that you went up to get into the flat. Big sort of patio doors and all the rest of it. And I thought, it's all brand new. It all looks lovely. I'll get the home buy. Just get the valuation report. No, I'll fork out and I'll get the home buyer's report as well. And it's a good job I did because I found out that the roof terrace didn't actually belong to the flat, neither did the sole access point.
Oh.
So it's always worth getting the home buyer's report done because you find out these little things.
When you say sole access point?
The sole access point to the flat was this spiral staircase on the side of the building.
Right, okay.
And so you had to go up the spiral staircase and cross this roof terrace, neither of which belonged to the flat I was buying. So unless I invested in a rope ladder out of the bedroom window, there was no way I could get into it. So I pulled out of that flat. But I lost 700 quid.
But they could potentially block up that exit and entrance.
One noisy party on my roof terrace, and that's it.
Yeah.
And let's face it, I'm not going to tiptoe around like a church mouse. There is going to be noisy parties and barbecues on that roof. So I pulled out, but I lost 700 quid on the home buyer's report.
Blimey. But it's worth it though, mate. It
sounds
crazy, but it's worth it.
It's kind of worth it. I mean, just to find out, because in the end, I mean, I could have bought that flat, had a noisy barbecue, and then the people downstairs go, right, well, that's actually our roof. You're not allowed on it anymore. And that's me scuppered. I can't get into my own flat.
Yeah. See, Lee.
Hello.
Do you own your flat at the moment, or you're renting?
No. I've always been renting. Yeah.
Are you looking to actually buy?
I'd love to. I would love to, but it's not that kind of. Things are a bit hard at the moment in terms of buying places.
Yeah.
It's not
the
easy.
The amount of money that you have to put together, and because it's just me as well. My plan at the moment is to find someone who already owns a house. That's the cheapest way.
That's actually not a bad way of doing it.
The opposite of it. You're looking for a cougar.
Absolutely. But no, not necessarily. I don't care either way.
Well, Ford Cougar.
Yes, that's the one. I'm going to live in that. But I would love to own a house. But it's just not happening currently.
But it's quite weird with how the housing market's gone, because the other reason for wanting to sell my flat now is I bought it 8 years ago, literally the week before the housing crash, and I paid 95 grand I paid for this. The following week after I completed, it was worth 42.
But if you stay in that, I know you're crashed. You're paying interest on something that isn't there, then, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the reason we're selling up now is because it's finally worth a little bit more than I paid for it.
Yeah. See, we got lucky when we were buying. I managed to save up £10,000 before we moved in, and that went on our deposit for everything. We bought a house for £86,500. That was a mid-terraced house in Plumstead. Funny enough, around the corner from Mr. Darren Barno.
Hey.
Yeah.
Is that why it was so cheap?
It was very cheap, yes. No, he didn't live there at the time, which was weird, paths crossing and stuff like that. But when we came to sell, which was, how many years later would that be? Be 5-6 years later, I suppose. We sold it. We were told to put it on the market for 165, and that way we could guarantee a sale straight away. And I said, nah, put it for 175. I was being a bit, not greedy, just a bit cheeky. And we got a sale within maybe a month of 172.
That's not bad.
Then bought this house that we live in, which was less than what we'd sold our terraced house for. So it's not that we made money. All that money that we did make just went on stamp duty and everything. It paid for all the fees to get ourselves into the house and keep the same mortgage.
Well, most of Europe doesn't do this whole home ownership thing. It's all about renting. They don't. Renting is normal. It's just us, and the government's still trying to push that. I don't really know why, because people who rent are getting absolutely stitched up. I mean, London is an absolute nightmare. Yeah. We paid the very first flat I moved into when I moved back to London fairly recently, about 7 years ago now, cost me £1,000 a month.
A month.
Whoa!
For a one-bedroom flat without any bills included.
Jesus.
This was the woman who wanted to charge me for the light bulbs. It's like, no, you're fine. Don't worry about it. And yeah, that was 6 or 7 years ago. When I left, we were paying £800 for one room in a shared house in Deptford.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like a really decent part of London. When we moved to Southampton, we were paying £750 for the entire flat, all bills and everything included. And that's not even that far away. So something needs to change, because particularly in London, you just can't live there.
No, you can't. You need to inherit something, and
if you're young, you can't do it.
No, and it's going to be soon. The mortgages are going to be passed on to the kids,
and your kids will be living with you forever.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. In the late 90s, Amanda was working not as an estate agent, but like a letting agency, and she was working around Blackheath, which is a very well-to-do place.
Yes.
And she said, bearing in mind this was the late 90s, she was putting houses out rental for people coming over for overseas students for over £2,500 per calendar month.
Fucking hell.
And it was a case of, yeah, we'll have it. Thank you very much. Goodbye. You know, Daddy's paying for everything.
Yeah.
Were they Saudi, a lot of these?
I don't know. I really don't know.
A lot of Russian oligarchs.
I imagine a lot of Russian oil is involved in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, I work for the Ordnance Survey, and part of our job is obviously to keep the maps updated. In fact, that's one of our main jobs.
I'd like to think so, yeah.
Exactly.
Don't print one off and that's it.
We're done.
This was fine in the 50s. I think you'll find it stands today.
We do a lot more. Anyway, the point is, one of the councils, I won't mention which, we had to record any building which was 8 square meters. Was or larger, basically. That was the smallest building. If it was 8 square meters, then it had to go down on the map. Because, and it was a London borough, they wanted to know where all these outbuildings were because people were renting them as houses. Yeah. So we had to record all that stuff. I mean, if you search for, London rentals nightmare, I saw one once. They were advertising. It was a shed inside the front room with a mattress on the floor. So, people would be sat watching TV. You could say, oh, I'm going to bed now. Go into your shed.
Jesus.
And you'd just be sleeping there. It was on in Indy 100, which is not a motor race, it's a website.
Bloody hell.
Don't worry, I got that, don't worry.
Oh, yeah, it's just ridiculous.
So would that be like, what are they called, granny annex or something?
It was a shed.
Just sheds.
Like a literal wooden shed?
Yeah, talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to find this now.
That's insane. A wooden shed, like where you'd have a porn stash and go and smoke a pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
That's insane.
Is that what you do? You go to your shed, get your porn out and smoke a pipe?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Smoking jacket and everything, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Just out down the garden, dear.
Right, I've put the link up in the chat room now.
Okay.
To the story. London, £480 a month for a bed in a shed in the lounge.
My God, there is an actual shed in their front room.
Is it like a cut price sex box, like on Channel 4?
I love the way it's got blacked out windows. That's amazing.
That's incredible.
In Bethnal Green, which I'm not sure is even one of the best parts of London anyway.
It's not the greatest. It's not bad.
Isn't it? Okay. £480 plus bills.
Surely you'd be able to siphon off Wi-Fi from there.
Got your own password.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a separate house. It's just technically a separate bedroom.
That's insane.
So that is just classed as a bedroom then, is it?
I guess so.
I can't see this because I'm not in the Mixer chat. Is it in the middle of the room?
It's in the corner, and the sofa is propped up against it.
Yeah. Do you know what's really bugging about? Because it's got a slanted roof, a pitched roof. Sorry.
It's got a pitched roof.
Yeah, and it ever so slightly comes over the window. It's really bugging me. I wish they'd just cut that bit off, make it flush.
I had a shed like that once.
That's crazy. Why would you do that? And right, okay, their coffee table. This is how cheap they are, right? They got a shed in their room for another room. They got a horrible sofa, and also the coffee table is made out of a cable barrel. You know what a cable mains cable would come on? Cheeky.
Could you put the coffee table in front of the shed on the shed door if they pissed you off?
Of course you could.
I love it how it's painted white so you won't notice.
Oh, fucking hell.
It just blends into the wall. Can you imagine if you had your girlfriend round or something while the rest of your house is sat in the front room?
We're just taking this back to the boudoir. Jeez.
And then 3 minutes later you come back out again.
3 minutes? Fucking show off.
Oh, you've obviously heard. Right, I'm going to tell you a little horror story that I had on my ventures while we were buying our house in Plumstead. The guy we were buying it off with the smelly dog, he wanted to move out. And we bought the house and everything was going tickety-boo. And then around maybe a year after we bought the house and moved in and got everything nice and tidy, we were speaking to a couple of the neighbours, because the neighbours were really good. That's something else that was brought up in the chat room about horrible neighbours making you move. So we might touch on that in a minute. But we was talking to one of our neighbours, and he said, you do know why he wanted to move and why he wanted to sell that house to you? And we're like,
oh, no.
No? Why is this? He said, well, he's, we don't know how to put it, but it was a well-known case. His sister was murdered.
Oh, no.
Okay. Not in our house. No. Not in your house. Don't worry. Not in your house. I think they'd have to declare that. Surely they'd have to declare that if there were a murder.
You'd find out because, candlesticks would start floating around and stuff like that.
It's in the home buyers report. Body behind the cavity wall insulating.
Yeah. Spirits. Yeah.
Do you want these bloodstains? No, take them with you. Oh, okay, fine. So we were talking about it. He said, his sister was murdered. Okay, so what happened with that? I said, his sister's body was found on Plumstead Common, which at the time was a 5-minute walk up the road. Okay, so she was killed. Yeah, but not all of her body was found there. Okay.
This is where you should just stop asking questions and leave it alone.
No. This is where I start asking questions. I'm very intrigued.
How new was the patio?
Luckily enough, we didn't have a patio, so we asked. Continued asking him what was going on, and he said, she had no head, and the head was found in the next road along in someone's oven. Someone in the next road along, just round the corner, in Flaxton Road, someone had killed her and taken her head and put it in the oven. It was found in the oven. He was roasting her head.
Ooh.
So that is why he wanted to move away.
That's weird.
That's a legit reason for moving.
It is. Yeah. And I should have got a bit more money off, really. I could have, niggled him down a little bit more. But yeah, that's like you say, it is a legit reason for moving. And
some people would pay more for that, though.
Well, but really,
there was a head found in the oven. I'm moving here.
It's not to do with my house. He's related to the person whose head was found in a house down the road.
So he didn't kill her?
No.
He just wanted to be away from the memories of where her body was found?
Yeah, because they both lived around that area.
Ah.
Still weird.
It is a bit weird, yeah.
Where was that again?
In Plumstead, Flaxton Road.
They do say Plumstead is the Huntingdon of the South, though, don't they?
It's not that bad, mate. It's not that bad. I know you have heads in ovens, but, it's not that bad.
It's like the one that always gets me is, Trent Reznor of 9 Inch Nails.
Right.
He claims he didn't realise, but he bought a house in Hollywood in the mid-90s and got it all sorted and all the rest of it. And then people started showing up on the lawn and taking photos of it. And 9 Inch Nails were a fairly big band then, but they weren't that big. And it turned out that it was Roman Polanski's old house, where Sharon Tate was murdered on the front lawn by Charles Manson's lot.
Oh, bloody hell.
So there was all these people doing this pilgrimage. Well, not pilgrimage, but, this is where it happened. And he's like, get the fuck off my lawn. And so he bought the house that Sharon Tate was murdered at. Whether or not he did know or not, but the story goes he didn't. But let's face it, it's Trent Reznor. He probably did know.
I wonder how many houses have actually had murders in them. Or some, really horrific thing. There must be more than you think.
Oh, yeah, there must be loads. Because I know the previous occupier of where I am now died in the flat.
Right. Because otherwise, how would Derek Acora have a career?
He hasn't got a career. He's a charlatan. And don't you dare say allegedly.
May the court submit that I did not say allegedly.
Because he is a fraud. It's been proven.
But he's continuing. Bless his little heart.
No, don't bless his little heart. Stab it.
And his hair dye.
Yeah. How many people were dead in the house? See, that one makes me wonder about my house.
We've got quite a lot of old houses in this country as well.
Yeah, huge amounts.
So many people must have died. It's creepy. I wonder. In a room of the dead right now.
The terraced house that I bought in Plumstead, that was a 1909 build.
Yeah.
Maybe no, it was 100 years old when we moved in, so it must have been 1903 or 1902. So yeah, they are pretty old. So you do have to wonder what has come before. It's quite cool though. I do like it.
I guess so, yeah. All the stories and all the things that must have happened in every single house as well.
And it's going to be logged somewhere as well.
Yeah. Well, even more so these days, in 100 years' time from now, are you going to know everything about everywhere because of the internet?
Yeah, curse the internet. Sometimes we know a little bit too much. Any horror stories from you guys?
No straight up horror stories, no, but it's the block of flats I'm in at the moment is quite amusing because it was an over 55s retirement block, but they didn't think to put in the lease that when your parents or whoever who were living here died, you had to then sell it to another over 55. Oh. So you had, when they first did it, you had all the sort of really elderly, infirm people on the ground floor, the kind of doddery old fools on the first floor, and then the sprightly youngsters, your silver foxes on the top floor. But what then started to happen is obviously all the people on the ground floor who were the really elderly and infirm died first. So you had this really bizarre situation, and it makes me laugh now, but it's quite silly really, where you had young people like myself all on the ground floor, and then old farts in Zimmer frames and shopping trolleys on the top two floors, and it always just made me laugh that all the young fit people on the ground floor, and then the elderly and infirm above them.
Especially when you sent the lift up to the second floor and kept the door open so they wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, you cruel bastard! It does happen on sheltered accommodation though as well. I've been into a few of them, and it's never plain and simple the way they either design the building or house the people that are going into that building.
So they don't make the lift big enough to take the shopping cart.
Well,
not the mobility scooter.
Yeah, or the coffin that has to take them out as well.
Oh God!
But that's easy. You can stand it on end.
I was going to say stand it on the end.
Just make sure somebody holds the lid on.
Well, that's why you don't have coffin boxes in lifts in tower blocks anymore. Because people were hiding in the coffin boxes and then jumping out and mugging people in the lifts.
Oh, fuck off, really?
Yeah, honest.
Oh, I'm doing that.
At no stage in all of human history has the lift door opened and there's just been a coffin in there. That has not happened.
No, right, okay.
It's happened in the films. I've seen it.
No. when I say coffin box, right, in these lifts, you'd have the doors that open in front of you and you'd have your empty lift car. On the back panel towards the bottom, about halfway, you'd have a door that came down to the floor. You'd open the 2 doors there towards you, and then you'd have another 2, possibly 3 foot behind you with a box built onto the back of the lift. That is your coffin box. That is designed so you can open the doors, slide your coffin in, and it fits laying down on the lift.
Oh,
why not just have a bigger lift?
That is what they build now. But it was an add-on. It's like a tiny extension for a lift.
Was it an optional extra?
Yeah, it was. And now you just get a big lift.
It's a tiny extension that you pay upwards of £700 per calendar month.
With an oven in it.
Yeah.
And pebble dashing inside. But yeah, that is true. Now you don't get coffin boxes on lifts because people used to break in, hide in these coffin boxes, and then mug the people in the lift as they're going down.
Huh.
Spooky.
So, when you've moved, how do you move your stuff? Because the last time I moved, about a month ago, it was still a case of a friend's car and 4 trips. Including getting a very small sofa into the back.
That's the only way to do it, surely.
But you guys own houses. You probably, you got to the stage where you can keep all of your life and start adding bits onto it. So every time you move, you must need like a massive van now.
I've always rented a transit van and done a couple of trips, but this one, because I'm sick and tired of it all and I can't be bothered, I'm actually getting a set of movers in to do it all for me.
Are you going to pay them to pack as well?
Yep.
Because you can do that, can't you?
Yep. We're doing that. I can't be asked.
You're going to trust other people with your things.
I'm going to follow them and set fire to them.
People are bastards, remember?
Yeah. But no, I've in the past, I've always just rented a transit, which has always been quite funny because I always ran me girlfriend's father over. That was fun. Because I had to back up to the house to get the sofa into it, and he was directing me, and I didn't realise he was stood directly behind the transit van, which had no rear view. So, like, bump, what was that?
Oh dear.
Yeah. He never liked me anyway, fuck him.
I've used a rental van. What else did we use? We actually paid a company to come in and clear the house, pull it in the back of their massive truck, and then we said, right, okay, we'll see you in 2 hours. We're driving north to Essex on an adventure. And then we saw them and they stuck it all in the house and everything either said loft or spare room on it.
Luxury.
Yeah, but we did the packing. But when I went to move, I had to decide to myself, right, okay, there's so much crap up in that loft. I need to sort it. And I gave myself a month before we even started packing to sort all that stuff out. Because the problem with me, when I go up to my loft, I start sifting through my stuff. And I can be up there an hour. If I go up there to get the Christmas decorations down.
Well, I saw. It's just Lego, isn't it?
There's a lot of Lego up there, isn't there?
Yeah. It's amazing.
And a couple of Millennium Falcons and AT-ATs.
Yeah. Never move, Elton.
No, I will not. But I can spend an hour or 2 up there I used to read The Enemy quite a lot, and I'm a bit of a hoarder. And
sure, it wasn't FHM or the
no, it was
the Littlewoods catalogue.
Oh dear. Hang on, let's have a second to think about the Littlewoods catalogue. There we go. Right, I used to read The Enemy quite a lot. NME, for people who can't understand what I'm saying. And I used to hoard it, and I had hundreds of copies in my loft, and I used to sit through them, and throwing them out, it's not that hard, but then you see something, I might read that again one day. And so you end up creating definitely throwing out, maybe throw out, won't be throwing out, and keeping piles. And I had to do that a couple of times to then get rid of all the ones I'm definitely throwing out. Okay, they're gone. Now sort it again. And what am I going to throw out of this? And I would do that a couple of times, and it took about a month to get through all my stuff up there.
Absolutely. Like I said, I've moved pretty much once every year at least. And there's still boxes that I'm looking at right now that have stuff in it that I meant to sort like 3 moves ago. But there's also plenty of examples of throwing things out. Because I think, I'll never need that. And then 6 months later, where's that thing? Oh, I threw it out. I took it to a charity shop or whatever.
Okay. Let's set the scene. You've just bought a house or flat or whatever you want. What's the first thing you set up?
TV
TV
and Xbox.
Because otherwise, how are you going to know where to point the rest of your furniture?
Exactly.
Absolutely, yeah. It's internet, actually.
Because that takes the longest.
Don't you phone up the internet and say, right, okay, we need internet now, thank you very much.
And then 4 months later, if you were BT, you might be lucky.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, because I'm always moving into houses which already have people in them. Don't have that problem.
Oh, you wait.
Just go straight in and...
Oh, yeah, just you wait. If you're dealing with BT, those people are pricks.
Do you not do it
Allegedly.
before you go? No, I think they are.
No, they are. They definitely are.
Yeah.
No, I don't do it before I go because you're walking out of your house and then you're walking into your house.
You can ring Sky like the week before and say, I'm moving, or however long before, saying I'm moving on this date. Can you fix everything?
Well, they won't go along and drill a new dish on a house that you don't own yet. You need to be in there first.
Right.
And because I had that when I moved into this house, I did phone up Sky and say, right, okay, we're moving. They said,
but can you not arrange for them to arrive on the day that you arrive?
I tried that. That didn't work. No.
Bastards.
Because you can't guarantee something might go wrong. Something might go wrong. You might get stuck in traffic, or you might be another day out before you move in. So, yeah, something might crop up. So I tried to do that, and they said, okay, no, you need to be in there, and then we'll come out.
Right. Lazy bastards.
But it's all right for you, renting. It's fine. you just walk in and, okay, right, what's your Wi-Fi code? Thank you very much. Bang, in.
There's still 2 places in Southampton that if I walked past it, my phone would connect to the internet.
There's that lurker again outside.
That's it, yeah. What's he doing?
Right. On moving house, is there anything else you'd like to say? Because we're on the home straight now, shall we say?
I think solicitors should be made to wear a big plastic dorsal fin. Because they're all sharks.
Do you have a quick story for that?
Relatively quick. I had this fantastic... It was a house that we pulled out of because it all fell through. But we were with this branch of solicitors, and I don't know if they were just incompetent or useless, or if they had given us the YTS girl or something. But they charged us per letter at 25 quid a letter.
Ouch.
And I was getting loads and loads of letters about the ownership of the tree. And I'm thinking, there are no trees on the land. Because it was a It was in Waterbeach near Cambridge, and it was a 2 up, 2 down, but it had an enormous 150-foot backyard with this great big shed. It was fantastic, really nice. But they were going on and on about the ownership of this tree. And I thought, there is no tree. So I went back out there and I measured it all up. I thought, well, there isn't a tree. And the only tree I could find on the property that was anywhere near the property was quite a way away, to say the least. You actually had the house, the front garden, the front wall, pavement, main road, pavement, common ground, tree. And that was the only tree in the area. And they were disputing the ownership as to whether it fell onto the land owned by the house. And they kept on writing letters to me to try and confirm it.
Oh.
And you're just like, no, don't be stupid.
No, they're trying to print their own money there, aren't they?
They were. And I actually said, look, I want a fully itemised bill at the end of this because I ain't paying for these letters because you're stupid.
Think of the trees they had to cut down to write these letters about these trees.
I don't think the process of thinking was involved at any point with those solicitors. They were useless. Absolutely terrible.
Lee, any other final thoughts on this?
Not really. I've just thought about my dad, actually, with his neighbours and bamboo shoots.
Oh, yeah.
If you're talking about battling with neighbours.
Was he in the war, and was he tied down? Did they try and grow a bamboo shoot through his back?
No, once you've got bamboo in the ground, it goes under the fences. It does hideous things.
Does it?
Yeah, it really does. It does, yeah. It shoots off and then it'll grow. Our neighbours had it, and they had one bamboo plant, and bamboo started coming up in the middle of our lawn, a good 12 foot away from their plant. It just shoots out and grows out.
Yeah.
Fucks your lawnmower up.
What, so it can shoot, 24 foot across, and then all of a sudden just decide to hang a upturning?
Yeah, that's exactly what it does.
You're joking.
No, I wish I was.
Yeah, so get that checked with your neighbours if you're going to move. Do you have bamboo? Yes or no?
Yeah, if you've got bamboo planted anywhere. Because that will go. It's like willow trees. They're the same.
Oh, they're horrible things, they are. My old neighbour had a weeping willow tree, and it always crept over our garden. And so one day I went out with a hedge trimmer and just cut a flat side off of it because it was just doing my head in. And it was perfectly in line with the fence. And so legally, it was fine. I disposed of that rubbish. Legally, I could have chucked it over to her side and she would have had to deal with that. Needless to say, that tree withered away. I didn't mean to kill it.
You killed it.
I didn't mean to.
You bastard.
I didn't mean to. I didn't stick nails in it or anything.
But you did.
The fact remains I did, yes, but I didn't mean to.
It's not even allegedly. That tree is dead now.
Yeah, it is dead because of me. I killed it. I did not mean it. Don't worry, I have plenty of other trees in my garden now to make up for that tree. Right, I think on that note, I think we'll bring it to a conclusion, if that's all right with you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything to plug at all?
No.
Well, I'm on another episode of the Shonky Lab.
No, you haven't worked out on any plugs whatsoever. Okay, fine, fair enough.
I'm only going to plug the artwork of Danny Davies again.
Oh, top man.
I think his stuff's awesome. And I never think to write it down, but you can find him on Facebook. He's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, what I'll do, I'll shove a link to it in our show notes. Definitely go over there and definitely buy as much as you can because it is brilliant stuff.
Hasn't he now got the DannyDavies.com?
I could quickly have a look. Hang on a sec.
But no, you can find him on Facebook. His stuff's really good, and I'm sure it's all linked to him there.
Hang on. Internet's being very slow. Safari can't find this server. Nope.
Well, never mind. But yeah, find him on Facebook. Also, you'll probably plug him anyway. LSG Media podcasts.
Yeah.
They're doing the Game of Thrones run at the moment as well, and that's really good.
Definitely, yeah. I've been listening to that. That's my port of call for Game of Thrones now.
Yeah. And the good thing as well is, I don't know if this is a conscious effort, but they record after it's screened in the UK.
Yeah, they do, yeah, because it screens on Monday, doesn't it?
Yeah, because now this is a bit bizarre question, completely off topic. When does Game of Thrones actually air on Sky Atlantic in the UK?
It airs 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's available on the internet play thing. What's it called? Sky Go, like 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because I've been watching it on Now TV, and it's because like, with The Walking Dead, you watch live at 9, but Game of Thrones is available, as you say, from about 2-3 in the morning. So I didn't know if that was a standard thing now.
No, it shows with the American viewing. So
that's really cool.
You can watch it at the same time.
Smart.
Right. So we're in our last minute now, so I'm going to wrap everything up if that's all right. Please do check out the other podcasts I do, the Black Dog podcast. I also do the Grand Prix podcast, which is also back now. So please go over and check the Black Dog at blackdog.geekplanetonline.com and grandprixpodcast.com. Everything else that I'm on, you can find on rogue2.com. That's the home of everything that I like to do. The Mixler links are all over there. There's also a Patreon over there. Now, if you want to help us out and do the Patreon, I'd be much obliged because I want to do more shows. There are more shows in me. I have many ideas which I want to stick out there. So if you pop along there, help us out, then we can bring out more shows and then maybe take over the world very slowly. One person at a time, shall we say.
So we're all off now to smother ourselves in butter to help settle into our houses, I take it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. iTunes reviews are also welcome. And it just leaves me to say thank you to Lee, thank you to Pete.
No worries.
You're very welcome.
And please leave quietly. This is a residential area.